Attracted me to the project was Nicolas. Nicolas was the réalisateur. I worked with him 3 times before. And when he told me that he wanted to make a Viking film for not a lot of money, I knew that would be interesting. Normally what he writes down is one thing, but what he has up here is a very different thing. And the way he works with that, and me and him together, has always been very interesting. So he talked about it 4 or 5 years ago. And he didn't have the money at that time, and he didn't have the real idea. And so when he finally came up with the plan to shoot it, I was ready to go. It's a reminiscence of a previous script that was much more Viking, much more classical plot-wise, but it's a different approach. It's far down the road. It's a big tribute to some of the big directors that Nicolas has always loved: Kurosawa, Sergio Leone, Tchaikovsky. And then, of course, his own energy. So it's definitely not a classical film. I mean, we're dealing with a mythology character. It's as I said before, he doesn't talk. He doesn't express anger or sadness or happiness. And it was a big challenge because we also needed something underneath to be working inside of him. So in many ways, we just had to build it on an animal in a zoo that people is looking at. But he still have that animal quality. Right, there is a boy that's joining him on the trip, on the journey, and that is maybe the human link to my character. But at the same time, it's a little like a big dog that has been followed by a little dog. Mm-hmm. And if the little dog is not annoying him, it's fine. So but in that sense, it's animalistic. It's not like an emotional human reaction.
Why do you think One Eye allows him to do that and goes that way?
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about the political of the world. He doesn't care. As I said before, if these people will follow me, up to them. If they get in my way, I will kill them. And the boy doesn't annoy me at this time. It's kind of nice to have something around me. So he's not a politician. He doesn't care.
So we see it's a silent role. Was it much harder to play such a role?
Yeah, I mean it's a big tool for an actor to have words, or at least feelings, and I have neither in this film. But still, it is a different approach. It's a different character. It's not a human being. So it was a challenge. And in the beginning, we had to reshoot some of the scenes because I was doing normal human things like sitting in the cage, fiddling with something or scratching my cheek. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't work. It just became flat and banal. And so we had to make it much more almost Japanese. Once we found that, it was fairly easy, but it took a while. It's a big part of our history, but we don't really learn it in school. We learn much more about Christianity or Islam, or in terms of religion, it's always been like fairy tales that we never really dealt with. But it's just as strong as a religion as anything else, and so I think it would be smart and interesting to put it back on the school table because it's very funny stories, and the gods are very much like humans. They have the same mistakes, the same greediness, and so there's a lot of funny and interesting stories in there.
So do you think their approach